Welcome to a new episode of Big Button Game Club. I'm gonna talk about Persona 3. I will not be talking about the answer in this video. That'll be its own video whenever I beat it, or if it beats me, whatever, that'll be its own thing. I'm just gonna talk about the journey in Persona 3 FES. I have played Persona 3 Portable as well. Didn't beat it, but I got to the point where Fuka joins your team and Mitsuru joins you in Tartarus. So I got that far. In the main campaign, I did not do the female protagonist because when I played Persona 3 Portable, that was around the time where I never played Persona 3 before. And I wanted a portable game because I was going on a trip that was long, so that's why I picked that. Uh, but as I was doing that, I was doing some research on Persona 3, and what I thought was funny was there's no united or unified opinion as to which version is the best. Like, it was never really clear. I was really confused when I was going through uh, Google and reading forums and Twitter. Like, even at the time, I asked people on Twitter, like, hey, should I play the answer? I mean, not the answer. Whoops. Should I play Persona 3 FES or should I play Portable? And it's like I got like so many responses that were just like all different and they all had good reasons. But if you were to ask me, I would say go with Persona 3 FES. Portable is good, but I feel like Portable is more for the fans that have beaten the game, that want to experience the female campaign side of it on the PSP. But I think if you're going to Persona 3 for the first time, I think FES is the way to go because you get to experience the story the way that it's supposed to. Because from what I remember, the story is made as a visual novel on the PSP, and that just does not do the story justice. I just didn't think it was that good of a direction to take it, in my opinion. At least that's what I remember. I don't know if they had. I don't think they had like full motion cutscenes or anything like that. It was just. I know there was a lot of sound effects, backgrounds, and just character portraits. I don't think you ever saw like anything going on. It was only just told to you in text. So I mean, if you like visual novels, then that's fine. But I think the best way to experience Persona 3 is through FES or FES. But let's get into the gameplay of Persona 3 FES. What I was going into this game, I really was thinking I was gonna like hate the game because some of you are gonna like laugh at this, but I was kind of comparing myself to DSV playing the game when he first played it, not when he returned to it and Stream Chat held his hand even harder. But uh, the thing that I was like looking at was he has played way more RPGs than I have. Just on his YouTube channel alone. I mean, again, I've only got into turn-based RPGs and all that kind of shit just in 2017 with Persona 5. That was it. Every turn-based game that I played before then, I played like the tutorial level, hated it, stopped, and never went back to it. That happened to me in Final Fantasy X. I was just like, this is dumb. I just want to beat up people. I don't know why we're taking turns here, and I just didn't really appreciate the turn-based system. So I was just going into this thinking, man, if the guy who played like more RPGs, like again, I know that like he did a lot of dumb shit in his playthrough to some point, but also like keep in mind, he has done more requests with Elizabeth than I have in my playthrough. He had more like I was watching the end of his playthrough just to see like how he handled the final boss fight or the story or whatever. And I was going through and I saw his like personas. I was like, I don't have any of these personas. What the fuck? You could have this cool thing like so he was able to do all this like cool shit with his personas. I kind of just I think my compendium stopped at like 50 or 60%. I think I stopped getting new personas at that point. And so I knew he at least understood the system better than me, which is fine. But I kind of like sticking through with what I do and what I like and what works for me. And that's kind of what happened the whole time. But as I was getting ready to play Persona 3, it was that, and then I remember hearing so many people. Because again, like, I don't know, every time I mention people like dogging on Persona 5, I always get someone saying, people hate Persona 5, everyone loves it. On my feed, for some reason, I always see, like, once a year at least, someone saying, yeah, Persona 5 is, like, really overrated, it's really bad, like, it's really easy and casual, and it's, like, mainstream. And, I mean, now it's kind of changed. Now it's just people just dunking on people saying, this is like Persona 5, and I get that annoyance too, but, you know, around that time I kept seeing that, I was just like, oh man, I really like Persona 5, and I thought that game was pretty challenging. So, like, is Persona 3 just gonna, like, fuck me up? Like, because, like, I kept seeing, like, yeah, imagine these Persona 5 fans played Persona 3 and Persona 4. They would be so mad. And I was just, like, seeing, was like, oh, fuck, I'm just gonna be really fucked up, aren't I? But, to my surprise, I actually did pretty good. All things considered, I think I only got help when I asked for it. Usually, obviously I have a no backseat gaming rule. The only exception is if I directly ask, and I usually just ask if it's just like, if I keep trying and doing other stuff. But people were only helping me with like some of the fusions I was doing. They weren't like telling me, "Yo, man, you should like do this and then get this persona and then do that." It's usually just like, oh, I think I want to get this. I need something that's gonna, throughout Persona 3, and I might have mentioned this in the Persona 5 playthrough, but Persona 3 was kind of helping me understand fusions better. Like, I really can't fathom or explain a good reason how I was going about fusing in the past. Like, I think the only thing I was doing was I was just looking at the visuals and seeing if the persona looked cool. And that's what I was going with, and I was going to some of the attacks. Obviously, I wasn't like going in that blindly, but I never discerned like what I was fusing and if it was actually a persona I needed. And when I was doing the Persona 3 streams and going through that, I was like starting to pick up some things to look into and saying, okay, I should look into like this kind of persona for this kind of enemy or whatever. And a lot of stuff I just did on my own. But I like the exploration that it offers with the fusions in Persona 3. So there is that just cap with me where it's like, that's why I thought I was gonna just not like Persona 3 and just get bodied, because I just wasn't in that mindset that of an RPG gamer. I never played an SMT game, whatever. Like, a lot of people were also saying like Persona 3 and to a point 4 were really the last Persona games that really evoked SMT. Now, I don't know how true that is because I never played SMT, so I can't really speak on that, but I was like, okay, whatever. So, I was going in, and there were only like 2 instances I could think of on the top of my mind where I was actively thinking in my mind, like, this might be the end of the playthrough. Like, I might just end here because I can't get past. And I'm gonna be honest, I know I probably have said that a few times in my playthrough because I get mad. I know I get mad when I play games. But I probably said that a few times, but there were like a few parts where I was genuinely thinking that. One of them was the Gifu Jotun fight, which is like, you might be hearing that thinking that's kind of sad because at that point you're like right at the end of the game, but that fight was like, I was mentally exhausted and it was breaking me. It was just like, what the fuck do I do? I had no persona that had a break ability at all. I couldn't break anything. Not even the personas I had in my compendium. So I had nothing unless I grinded a persona to get it. I don't know. I never had a persona that had it. I might have had some and then I just never accepted the fusion of it. I don't know. But it was that, and then the Jotun kept draining every single attack, and the first stream of that fight, every attempt I did, it was just like, I don't know what to do. I have no attack for it. The only thing I can do is piercing, which takes HP, and like that just puts me at a disadvantage innately. I was just really like confused as to how was I supposed to get past this. Like, I had nothing. I didn't know if the AI was gonna do. The AI wasn't doing anything. I even told you guys on the stream in the video wherever you watched it. Like, yeah, I'll try this again the next stream, but I'll try to grind to get over this. But I'm gonna be honest. If I can't beat this, even after the grinding, I might just drop this game. I might drop it and move on to Persona 4. I was like, kind of like telling you guys about that because it was like, I was really, really unsure I could get past it. And then the next stream, I came back, and I think it was like the first two attempts, at least at most, I think it was like 2 or 3, but I think it was like 1 or 2 when I did it. And my team, I don't know what the fuck was going on. My party was all like in sync. They were all in unison. I've like the whole game. There were some moments where like one of the party members was doing an MVP shit, but this was like everyone was doing MVP shit. Everyone, I guess Mitsuru, Yukari, everyone was doing what they needed to do, and I was just like, I've never seen this. And in the back of my mind, like I got ingrained that innately I feel that Atlas designed Persona, and probably SMT at this point, but I feel there's a design where the game gives you this feeling of triumph just to take it away. Because I have been through so many fights in Persona in general, be it 3, 4, or 5, whatever, where it's like, yeah, this is the session. This is where we beat it. This is where I beat this thing. And then it's like, oh yeah, it does the insta-kill. He kills your party. And it's just like, dude. And then I try again, and I can't get back to that level. And then it's like, insta-kill immediately. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, that happened to me in the Persona 4 stream. Like, the first time I was fighting the Yukiko boss. And, that fight was pissing me off. I got all the way to where she was like, a quarter of a health. Like, she was almost dead. And I was like doing everything right. I was like landing damage. The prince wasn't doing any motion, anything to do. I kept dizzying him. It was perfect. And then Yukiko does a massive attack and wiped the entire party out. Except for Chie. Chie survived. But everyone else died. And I was just like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? And then I tried again, and I couldn't beat it. It was just like, yeah, you're dead immediately. Everything was not, like, it was just awful. I was, like, really mad about it. I was just like, this is bullshit. And then I streamed that the next day, and then someone was like, you should just take out the prince, and you're good. And in my mind, I was like, it's really that simple, because Persona 3 and even Persona 5, if you wipe out a enemy that was summoned, the boss will just keep summoning. Usually. That's why I wasn't really aiming to kill it, because I could handle one. I just didn't want it to summon another. I just didn't want that to happen. I did not know it was gonna, like, not summon anymore. I was just like, what? What? It blew my mind. It blew my mind that's how that fight worked. But back to Persona 3. That Giva Drone fight was really, like, testing my patience. And I think there was, I don't remember if it was, like, the lovers, the floating head with the dancers. I don't know if it was that one. But I think it was either that or the table, where it kept doing a sexy dance on me. I'm gonna be honest. That boss fight, like, I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad just bringing it up, because like, dude, okay? So, we went to this Guardian, okay? We went to this Guardian, and we were bodying this fucking Guardian. We were doing pretty good. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. We're all doing good damage. It's really, we're getting all out attacks. We're doing all this cool shit. It's doing amazing. Gangbusters, dude. Gangbusters of sessions. It was amazing. And then, when it was like literally one hit away from dying, it does sexy dance. So the whole party gets charmed, and I die. Every time, and it happened every single attempt. Every single time that I was like nearing beating it, it did the sexy dance, and it would always work. It wouldn't work at the beginning of the fight. It only worked when he was near death, and it pissed me off. That's what I mean. It's like the game knew, like, oh look, you're almost done. You almost beat it. Oh man, it'd be like a shame if you got charmed, right? And then it charmed me. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the rage you saw with DSP when the charm salt that he had, that happened to me in that fucking fight. That fight pissed me off. Like, I was mad. Like, dude, I was trying so hard to not, like, I don't know if you go back to that part of the playthrough, I don't know if you could tell, but I was trying so hard not to yell at people in chat because, like, I was getting fucking, like, I get mad on stream, and I usually can, like reel it back. Usually if I'm talking to people in chat, I can usually, like, calm myself down a little bit. But this was getting to the point of rage that I've ever only felt when I was a kid, when I was, like, just a child, I as a kid, I would always get mad when people don't understand what I'm saying. Like, if I tell you something and you don't get it, I would get really fucking mad about it as a kid. And I mean, I would just I'd be fuming about it. I was a kid. But this was getting to that point where it was just like, I was like just mad. I was like at Chad, just hoping someone said some magic thing to tell me this is the best way to do it. I don't know what, like, whatever. I was just like seething. I was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, I know, yeah, I'm gonna, like, yeah, I know, I gotta grind. Oh my god, like, it was just like, I was trying so hard because I don't love getting mad and that seeping to the chat, because I don't want people to be, I don't want people to feel like I'm just taking my anger out on them. Like, I don't want to do that to people. So so like that part was like really hard. I was just like trying to like not do it, but that fight was pissing me off. And the thing is, that's not the end of it. So I do think that magical moment in the chat happened where someone told me that my Narcissus, because I had Narcissus at that time and it had an item, and I think it was Stormlit Aqua or Retro. It was one of the people there that are regulars. Was telling me, like, yeah, your Narcissus will probably give you a Narcissus flower. You should grind that out. And this Narcissus was like level 8, I think, at that time. So I was like, okay, I'll just grind it out to get that, because I was thinking of getting an accessory for Charm. I just didn't know where to get it because the jewelry store didn't have it. Now this was the other thing I forgot to mention that was contributing to the frustration. I had so many Discharms. I was stocking up on it because I knew the final boss was gonna have a charm attack. So I was like, I need this just in case we go to the final boss or whatever. So I had all these Discharms. I was gonna be like, okay, because that stupid Guardian would charm me and Yukari, or does Yukari sometimes. So I was like, okay, if I can get Discharm, I can Discharm Yukari. Hopefully, we'll just focus on her because she's the healer. But no, it would always be two people, it'd be me and Yukari, and it would be awful. It would be an awful time. It would either be that, or it would charm me, and it would never be my turn, so I would die. So it would just literally be no matter what. It was a screwed over thing. But anyways, so I decided to grind for that Narcissus flower. I grind for 2, I believe. I think I grind for 2 of these Narcissus flowers. I finally get them, and at this point, I was literally telling my chat, like, look, if this doesn't help, this might be it. Like, if whatever. So I equip Yukari with it, and I equip myself with the Narcissus Flower. I go into this fight, and oh my god, dude, I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad again. The fucking Guardian never used sexy dance the entire fucking fight. Like, do you know how mad I was when I beat that? Like usually you beat a guard, you're just like, yeah, man, I beat the boss. I was pissed off. It never did sexy dance because I grinded so much time into Narcissist. They get this dumb flower to then just for the game to be like, oh yeah, this guardian is just never gonna do it. And I would like that part. I would just like I was like, fuck this game. This game is bullshit. And if this game does more shit like this in the future, I'm gonna hate it. Like that fight was really giving me like I was getting mad. Just what happened. Just what happened. I was like, this is bullshit. And if this game keeps doing this shit, I don't know what my opinion's gonna be at the end of this. And it was just pissing me off. Like even after I beat it, I was just like mad. I was just like, I had the Nurse's Flower, and it never did sexy dance. I spent all this time. I could have beat it without it. I beat it the first time, and then this happened. Like it was pissing me off so bad. Like it was really like the game grew a mind. It was like, I'm gonna fuck with this guy. Like it broke me. It was really like the game really made me feel like it was devising ways to torture me. Like, this felt like torture. That one fight felt like it was an elaborate way that Atlas was torturing me. It was, like, it was fucking frustrating. I don't know. I don't know why. Like, dude, I'm getting so mad. I'm like, so mad right now just thinking about this stupid fucking fight. So I have to move on for my sanity and for for this video, but so that was going on, and every other fight was never reached that point ever again. But there were some goofy ass fucking fights, I'll tell you that much. There was like 2 or 3. There was the cross, and then there was, I don't know if it was a table or it was like the knight arms or what. I don't remember the shadow it was necessarily, or if it was a statue. I don't remember, but this one only did like, it had 3 attacks pretty much. It had a slash and a strike attack. So I had Callie, which is perfect. I love Callie. I gushed about Callie in Persona 5 video. Check that out. But I had Callie that I think it reflected slash attacks and it blocked strike attacks or whatever. So I had that equipped. My party kept dying, so I was like, okay, I'll just take these 3 shadows on my own, and I was able to body it. And I was just seeing this fight, and I was just like, dude, someone out there who's okay. I'm gonna talk about this one viewer. I'm not gonna name the name, but there's one viewer that came into my stream. I was playing this game. I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is my first time playing Persona 3. I want to experience this the way that, whatever. I was like really like, interested and curious about how it's gonna go. This one guy comes in and just keeps telling me, oh man, Theo, you're gonna like hate this game. You're gonna be so mad. You're gonna have to grind. You're gonna have a terrible time. I don't think you're gonna beat this. I don't think you're gonna beat this game. You're just gonna be terrible. You're doing bad stuff right now. You're fucking up. And I didn't want to. I think I even said this in the stream. I don't want to. I told this person, I don't want to call you out or treat you like an asshole or whatever. I don't want to be like a snarky guy, but like, calm down. Like, I mean, I was also I did respond with like just telling him, yeah, this is a Persona 3 master run. This is like the best way. This is like how you play the game. That's kind of how I was handling it, but he kept going to it. It got to the point where I was just like, hey man, I know, but I'm just playing this game the way I want to. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, it got to the point where it's just like, yeah, okay, cool. But whatever. The guy calmed down. He calmed down. He then told me at the end of the stream, you know what? I thought you were a fool. You're a cool guy. I was like, hell yeah. There you go. There you go. Obviously, that's all that matters in that whole interaction. But anyways, so that was going on the Cali, and I knew deep down in my mind that someone's gonna come by that video, and they're gonna see that fight, and they're gonna be like, this fucking guy fucking cheesed it. Of course he gets his persona and does the dumb shit. Fuck this guy. It happened again with the cross fight, and that wasn't though. To be honest, that one wasn't nearly as bad because I did end up getting. No, actually, no. No one survived that. It was only just me. Because the cross kept doing Mega Dolan, and that fucking attack, man, that attack pissed me off too. Mega Dolan is I don't think there's a Persona fan alive that doesn't get pissed off when an enemy does Mega Dolan, because that attack is like, you gotta pray to God at that point. But those three fights, I really relied heavily on my Persona stats. And I just kind of like laughed at that. I was like, I can't believe this happened, because I feel that they removed that nonsense in later games. I don't know if they removed that in Persona 4. I don't know, but I feel like in Persona 5 you can't do that at all anymore. It's like, you can reflect stuff, sure, but you can't do that with a Persona that has that strength trait to it or whatever. So I was just like, okay, like, I think at most you just reflect it or block it. So it's like, okay, whatever. I think they try to balance it out a little bit more in 5. But 3, I was just like sitting there, I was like, I can't believe I got through these. The only drawback was it fucked up my party's experience really bad, because usually, I mean, you do want to focus on the main character. You want the main character to be like a good level usually, but it is also equally important to keep track of your party members. And with this, unlike other Persona games, like, the only characters getting XP, I don't know how it is in 4, I don't know, but with 3, whoever you bring gets experience if they're alive. But if you leave in the lobby, they don't get experience. They have to be in the party, and they have to survive the fight. These Guardian fights give you a lot of experience, and all of my party died. So it would only go to me. And so, like, I would be, let's say I'd be level 60. I'll be level 60. My party that I would bring with me would be like level 50. So it'd be a huge gap they would have to kind of catch up on, which wasn't that bad. I was able to catch them up because the XP boost that they would get in the shuffle time made up for it. But it was just like, they could have been probably leveled up way better if they survived those cheese Guardian fights. But sometimes you gotta take the W sometimes with the side of C. But anyways. So those are like the notable moments of that playthrough that I really liked. At least in terms of streaming it and sharing that playthrough, because I thought, like, that's what it goes into what I said earlier, that the archaic nature of you can't control your party contribute to the stream, to that playthrough being very memorable to me. And I think a lot of my love and admiration towards Persona 3 is from that, but there's other stuff that I can gush about, that I will be gushing about. So, a lot of people don't like that you can't control the party. I get that frustration, because you will see Mitsuru do Mirror Karen nonstop, though I'll be honest, my Mitsuru must have been defective, because I've only seen her spam Marin Karen like one session when I brought her with me. That was like the one time she did it, and then after that she never did it again. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised she doesn't do that. But I will say, she's an idiot in the answer. She did a lot of dumb shit in the answer. If you watch my playthrough of that, you'll know what I mean. But she was fine. The one AI that I relied on heavily was Yukari. She did everything. Like, you name it, she did it. She was perfect. She healed when we needed it, and she attacked when she needed to. She was like brilliant. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is up with this AI, but she was doing stuff that was like, that I would do if I was controlling her. I guess it was good, but I was dumb enough to not ever put her on a support role, because I I don't know why I didn't think about that. I only did that for the Nyx fight. It was either the Nyx fight or the one of the fights before that. And I never realized that she could debuff she could remove the debuffs the boss gives you. She could increase your attack. And I was like, I never put her on that roll. And I should have. That would have probably made maybe even half the encounters easier than they were. I mean, it just late game learning, dude. Late game learning. But hey, that'll go into my new game plus run on hard, whenever that may be. But yeah, I didn't mind that. It just kind of made, because I will say it also got me to think a little bit more about my party than Persona 5. Persona 5 I thought about only in the sense of party arrangement and maybe their elemental attacks, but I never really thought much about, oh, I need to level this character up. This character's too low level. I need to like kind of put her in the team. I didn't think about that until Persona 3 because Persona 3 like actually makes you think about what their equipment is and what their situation is. The other thing I think I do not like about Persona 3, the way you shop for materials I think is pretty rough. I don't know if it's intentional to get you to really focus on the Elizabeth quests and the um, exploration in Tartarus. I feel like that's probably what it was, but I still feel like that they could have given you the option to buy that some of the stuff or the equivalents of it. Because when I went to the police store, that's right, the police store, they give you good shit, but at some point it starts to become garbage pretty fast. Where it's like a cruel joke at that point to go there. It's like, oh, alright, I have armor that's level 300. What does the police store have for armor? Oh, well, you get this one for like 195 armor. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. What about weapons? I have a sword that's like 300. What does this guy have? 190. Okay. The pharmacy is okay. It gives you like medical power that does decent HP stuff, but you only get good items, like good healing stuff, with the item shop, the antique store. And the antique store is good. I do like the antique store and how that system works, but I will say it was just like, man, I just wish I could just buy these. It's whatever. The one bummer though I had in that playthrough is I'm still a little bit not as mad as that one fucking thing, but the one part that I was like really bummed about was there was one floor in Tartarus where it was nothing but rare shadows, and I was getting every single one, and I had all this great stuff, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to take this to the antique store to see what's gonna happen. Go to the next floor, insta killed. Couldn't find the portal. Couldn't find the stairs. Just dead. And I never got that luck ever again. And yeah, I was really sad. I was like really sad. That kind of in that playthrough, I was like kind of, you could kind of see that I was like really depressed about it. Like I was just like, maybe not depressed, but I was just like really like bummed. I was just like, oh, okay, we just gotta go to the garden. It's really what I want to do now. Like I was just really bummed about that. But in that regard, I do think that all this stuff is just made the game more memorable to me. I do like that there's this great sense of risk reward with Tartarus. And Tartarus, I think Tartarus is my favorite thing in Persona. I like it way more than Mementos. I like it way more than the TV world in Persona 4 so far. I can't really speak about the TV world until I beat the game. We'll see how that holds up, but I think Tartarus is the best because it has everything that I can that just kind of like made me just like, oh. So one thing that I didn't notice until like much later in the playthrough was the music. So at first, to the untrained ear, the Tartarus theme sounds the same. You don't pick up on it. It's very subtle. You're just like, oh, it's the same. And I was like, looking at chat, and retro shouts out to RetroQ Gaming, kept telling me, oh yeah, this is a banger. This is a cool Tartarus theme. It's so much better than the last block. And I was just like, oh, I guess. Like I didn't pick it up. But then, guys, I picked up the Persona 3 soundtrack. Obviously, I got that soundtrack, and I I listened to it nonstop. And every Tartarus beat would come up, I picked up on it. And this is what I love about Tartarus. Not only is it like the embodiment of risk reward gameplay, where you can get this massive reward for taking the risk, or no, the risk reward, like the risk being like you can net huge XP, huge weapons, all this stuff, right? If you just keep going each floor, going through every shadow, whatever, and get to that teleporter, you can totally risk it and do all of that, and you'll get that reward. Or you can just kind of go until the next portal and just go back and restart and save and keep your rewards, etc. Like you'd be safe, or you could be like a risky guy. I was a very risky guy when I first started Persona 3 because I really thought I could just kind of go through the TARDIS pretty easily. And I didn't really take advantage the fact that TARDIS really, 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 really encourages grinding and going back and going, through TARDIS again. And I did mention this in the Persona 5 video in terms of my issue with mementos and how you can't refill your SP or HP at the lobby of mementos. While in Tartarus, like, you go to the lobby, you get your shit back, and you can go back. The only drawback is the emotion system. Everyone I'm sure hates the emotion system. I fucking loved it. I really did like that system. It was a really cool thing. It was frustrating, but I loved the idea that you have to keep track of all your party's moods and all this kind of stuff. I did like that because I kind of felt like that kind of helped you really drive towards S-Links and doing that kind of stuff. Because if it didn't have that, I feel like, not a lot of people would really give a shit about S-Links. And I think, with the mood system, it kind of helped you say, like, okay, well, I can't go to Tartarus. I mean, we all die, so, I guess I'll just do S-Links today. I do like that. So, in regards to Tartarus, if you keep grinding and you keep doing, like, going back to the lobby and going through, you will start to get tired, and if you do that, you'll also get sick, and that will take days off of what you could have been grinding as well, which you could also use to do S-Links as well. So there's always... This system honestly feeds back to its other mechanics, and I do like that. I think it might be frustrating. Like, I will say I was getting, like, really stressed out near the end because I really wanted to grind a bit because I knew, I did like at least the levels of some of the bosses I was kind of dreading. So I was like, okay, I at least want to be in the ballpark with when I go against Nyx. And I also wanted to grind to get Satan. So I was doing this, and I was just doing that. Everyone was getting tired. I'm just like, dude, we're like 2 days away from Nyx. I really, really don't want to go into this fight where everyone's tired and it's like a fucked up situation. Luckily, that never happened, but I was like really concerned about that. Even though I do feel like the game does not let you go into a boss fight tired. Maybe, I would say maybe on hard they let that happen, but I don't think on normal you could do that. I don't know. I never really want to see if you can. I don't want to try it, but so that's the only risk of constantly grinding in Tartarus, which I think is a good, like, balance. You get to grind, you get to explore Tartarus, then it's like, okay, I want to kind of leave. So I like that, but let's get back to the music. I talked about this a little bit, didn't get into it. I really loved the attention to detail in the Tartarus theme, and it's even in the visuals of each block. Some blocks can have drastic changes, some don't, but I just love that the higher you go, you get these different additions to the beat. You might get a nice somber beat that's like and it's like very like shallow. Like we go to the first block, it's very basic. It's a basic tune. It's like, okay, this is good, but it's like very simple. You go to the next block. Oh, now they added a new instrument to it. Now it's like a piano, and I was like, duh, and all whatever. And the more you go up, the more elaborate the theme gets, ever so subtly. It's not like drastic where you're like, that's the difference. Like Mementos, you go to each labyrinth and it's like drastic. The change in the music. Tartarus, it's like very subtle, and you don't and you could ignore it. Like you might not even be thinking about it. You really, honestly, you probably would notice it. Probably near the end of the game, you'll probably definitely hear like different instruments, different beats, different tunes being thrown in there. So I do love the level of detail that Tartarus has, just visually and music wise. Excuse me, sorry about that. But uh the other thing is the enemy design is so good. Like I get why Persona 5 went with the enemies being personas. Like you had to have that negotiation factor into it. You have to have like these two sides negotiate, etc. But I think Persona 3 and 4 has a better visual language as to the enemies you fight. Like like Persona 3 and Persona 4 do share like, hey, the bigger the enemy, the more damage they do and the more serious they are. But the other thing that you can easily keep track of is just what shadow you see. Like in Persona 3, I just like there were just fights where I go in and I'm like, oh shit, it's the knight riding a horse. I gotta book it. Let's leave. This one's gonna body us. So I love that you can really have this visual representation just of the hierarchy. Persona 5, it's more of like persona rarity that you'll know that this gonna mean business. Just off of the rarity and the class of that. But I just think it's a stronger system with the way that 3 and 4 was. And I thought they were way more expressive just visually, because like you go through just even by comparing by the art books, the Persona 5 art book, like there's no art on of the personas, because these were creatures they've worked on games and games ago, like not way before Persona. Like you'd probably have to get like an SMT art book at this point, but like you'll never see like concept art of these personas, because these are established things that they've been using. So if you go to the Persona 3 art book and the Persona 4 art book, you will see concept art and all this cool little artwork of all these shadows. And they're very expressive. Like you have the hourglass kind of shadow. My personal favorite is the lovers. I love the floating hearts that spin around and they're like dancers. That to me is like that was like one of my favorite shadows to fight. There were other cool ones too, but that one was like really cool to like kind of see. The other cool one was the one like the hands. Like when I first saw it, it was like really unsettling. Like this one was like nightmare fuel almost, because you have these like hands that are just like doing this with a little face there. Like it was so fucking cool. Like I loved that shadow design so fucking much. And I just think that Persona 5 just kind of loses that. They do kind of get it in terms of like the enemies that roam around the palaces, but it just doesn't compare. Like I just love the shadows you fight. And the thing that it also contributes to the gameplay, in the sense that with Persona, you don't really ever need to think about, oh, what's this one's weakness? If you look here, like, oh, I know the weakness. Okay, get out of here. Well, with the shadows in 3 and 4, you really have to like memorize it, and then later on they try to switch it up on you, and it's like, oh, yeah, they look the same, but they have different properties. And of course, they could say that, oh, that's just them reusing assets. And I mean, it's a PS2 game, so I mean, you could forgive them on that. And I thought it worked well with the hardware. that's on. So I loved the shadow shit more in 3 and 4. Even 4, I think, like 4, I just, I don't want to get into too much into four until I do the video of it, but 4 does help my case because you see way more goofy shadows that you fight against, and you think about those shadows more. Like, oh, yeah, that big mouth thing. You have the kings that summon babies. Like, I loved it way more. While like Persona 5, it's like, all right, here's Succubus. All right, here's Abaddon. All right, let's see. Let's get the list of personas here. Oh, we'll give you this one. Jack Frost, go. The only time that I kind of liked it was when it was like the Frost gang, King, Jack, and Black Frost all together. That's pretty funny to me. I don't know why I laughed at that. It was just like, yeah, this is like the the Frost gang rolled up, like, yo, yeah, you think after the hee ho time, well, we gotta hee ho your time, bitch. It's like, oh shit. So I do like, that's the only thing I liked in Persona 5. That's like the only good thing that came from it. But I just love the shadows way more. Um, the music in 3, I think, ultimately is the best soundtrack. Like I can't tell you, even if we were to, let's say, divide the versions, because there's like 3 versions of Persona 3. I can't even rank them. They're all great soundtracks. I love them all. You have Wipeout and Portable. You have Wipeout. You have Soul Phase, I think. Um, Way of Life. You have all these songs, and they have like in FES, dude. The FES version of Mass Destruction is the best version of Mass Destruction. I wish I could remove the base version of it and use that. Like, both versions are good. Don't get me wrong. I love the original as well, but the FES version is just so good. You have that trumpet, and you have like the more chill like beats, like lay low, lay high, not mafioso. Like, it's like, oh shit. Like, I love the Fez version of Mass Destruction. Yeah, the Fez opener, that's also really good. I just love the soundtrack of Persona 3 way more, and I do remember someone was mentioning, because I talked a little bit about it when I was streaming it, and someone replied saying that uh that Persona 3 had the most experimental soundtrack. And I couldn't agree more. I really do feel that Persona 3 took a lot of risks with, not risks, but it was just very like varied with the soundtrack. Like, it's not just one thing. You had Persona 4, and I'll be honest, don't get me wrong, don't take this the wrong way. I think Persona 4 is the weakest soundtrack in the series. It's a good soundtrack, don't get me wrong. I do like the soundtrack of 4 and Golden, don't get me wrong, but that is kind of, and 5 does fall into it. It's just that I do like 5 more because of Willpower and Rivers in the Desert, and Royal, just throw your mask away. Oh man. But 4 has this like motif of poppy music, which is good. It works for the game, but it's just like, yeah, same songs. Like, there might be a few songs that are different, but it's like, that's it. And this is a little side note about the soundtracks. Persona 4 added something that I think is terrible. They started including sound effects, kind of. Like, they had like tracks that are just like little openers for dumb shit that you're not gonna care about. And 4 was like the beginning of it, and it's like, okay, whatever, you can stomach it. But then you get the 5 soundtrack. You get the dumbest shit in it, and I hate it. You get the crane game thing, and it's like, no, fuck that. It's the worst thing to happen. Like, no. But anyways, 4 has that pop motif. 5 is a little more jazzy, heavy as well. But I think 5 I like a little bit. I like a lot more than 4. 5 just has this very strong, like, variety with it. But 3, I think, is like reigns above all, because you like with 5, I could just tell you I like Royal's soundtrack more than the base game. But 3, I can't tell you which version of 3 I like more. They're all so good. I just love the mass destruction, deep down, deep breath. I don't remember the name of that song, but that one was really good. Like whatever. Like the one here on the monorail is so good. I just love that beat. It's so like you're just like it's so catchy. You have Changing of the Seasons, which is really good. You have the credits theme. Oh, the credits theme. Once that goes, you're just like, oh, baby. Then the final boss music, like before the Burn Your Dread goes on, that one's good. Burn My Dread is just the intro of that version, and the final fight version. Like, dude, dude, dude. I'm getting teary eyed just thinking about the soundtrack, man. The other songs I like a lot in Persona 3. The Master of Shadows theme, both versions, because there's in the soundtrack they gave them the same names, but I think it's in regards to like one's for Guardians, one's for like Full Moon bosses, and both of those are so fucking good. The one for Full Moon bosses are like the like it has like some vocal in it, which is like really good. It's like, yeah, I'm into it. But the ones for the Guardians, like, dude, I would love to see that song being made because the drums sound so fucking good. Like the drums, dude. Like I just every time that it comes on when I put the playlist on random, I just go crazy. It's just like it is the best boss theme I have ever heard in a game. And I loved the final boss fight in Persona 5's theme. I loved Willpower and all that, but this one, like it's like, dude. So I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Like a lot of stuff that went into Persona 3 really like feels like that everyone that worked there was like, yeah, we can't top it. We're done. This is the end. Like it just feels like, how do you top Persona 3? And I know a lot of people are gonna say like, Theo, you sound like a fucking Persona 3 fanboy right now. Dude, like I went in that game thinking I was gonna hate it. I told you in this video, I believe, that if I go into anything with a negative expectation, like if I just think I'm gonna just not like it, and as I get into it, the more I go into the game, I start loving it. That's when I know that game is something special. So Persona 3 just like it subverted everything that I was like thinking about. So the music is good. I just loved it. Going off the character designs are really good. I will say I think Persona 3 does have the best cast of characters than any other Persona game. 5 I like to. 4 I know 4's cast, to be honest, because of the anime, and they're good, but it's like I there's not a character I gravitate to. Like it's like, yeah, these okay, like yeah, they're there, and it's kind of the same attitude I had for Persona. Honestly, when I played Persona 5 for the first time, I had that same feeling for some of them. I think the only characters I really was into that I liked was on Ryuji. I kind of liked. I think there was like one more. I think I just like Makoto just because of her persona and her biker outfit. But I used to not like her character. I thought she was kind of dull. But then I did New Game Plus. I see how cool she is now. So yeah, you got some for Makoto, dude. Anyways, with Persona 3, I still think that is the best cast. Like I'll get into it when I talk about the story, but it really embodies everything I loved about Ava, which I'll get into in the story segment. So the cast of characters are really good. I love their design. Everything about it is really good. The boss fights are really well done. The way that it's done in this game is that The full moon bosses I kind of think that they're just story bosses. Like they're not, because they're really easy. Like you don't really need much thinking to beat them. As long as you know how to press buttons, you can kind of get your way through. The only full moon boss I think kind of gave me a hard time was oh no, I don't know why I had to think about this one. This one, oh my god, dude. This one is you go to like a military base in one of the full moon segments, and it's a tank that splits into two. This one is the hardest one, honestly. Every other full moon boss, it's like you can get through it as long as you know how to use personas on a basic level. But this one, you had to keep track of how much damage you were giving out onto both entities, because if one goes out before the other one will revive it fully, and it will just fuck you up. So it's like you really have to like plan it out to attack when they merge and just survive when they're separated. And I hated that fight, to be completely honest. Like, I'm gonna tell you this as well. This is a cool story. We're having all story segments in this video. It's like cool, pretty cool, huh? But anyways, this one was pretty momentous. So I did Persona 3, as a late night stream a lot. I mean, there's a lot of late night streams where like, man, I was going later than I wanted to some nights. But anyways, this fight, I died. I was like, oh my god, I do 4 days of work again, because like I didn't save all that stuff at all. So I did do some off screen catch up pretty much. So I caught up the next stream, and I was like, okay, now we're ready to fight this boss, and we have days if we need to grind, whatever. It's perfect. So I do that, and we start that fight, and I'm like thinking, we may not beat it, and whatever. We beat the boss. We beat it, and I'm so happy. Like, we did it, guys. Hell yeah. That one I felt like I felt accomplished. That one wasn't like the other fucking goddamn fight, but I felt accomplished. I was happy, and I was like, you know what, guys? I think this is a great place to end the stream. I saved the game. The second, literally, I'm not memeing, saying literally. I mean literally. I hit stop streaming. The power goes out. The moment I hit stop streaming on OBS, the power goes out. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, dude, thank God I fucking saved. Because, like, I was telling people, like, dude, if because I was, like, it was by pure chance we beat it on top of that, because if I remember that fight correctly, I was one hit away from death. Like, this last cycle, literally everyone had to hit him. If one person missed or did some dumb shit, except for Yukari Sheep because I told her to heal, if one person missed, it would be over. It would be over for that whole boss fight. So I think that was another segment where I was like, getting like really stressed out and telling people like, if we don't win this, if we end it, this would be it, because I just didn't want to deal with the two enemy bullshit. So I was like, yeah, this might be the end of the Persona 3 playthrough if we don't beat this, whatever, and whatever. So I do that, and the second the power went off, I was like, dude, if the power went off and I didn't save, I don't know if I would have continued, because it's not necessarily that I was raging in that fight a lot. I mean, I was mad and all that stuff, but it's like you worked really hard in that fight to beat it. You beat it, and then the power goes out. Like, that's something out of your control. Like, that would just demotivate me, and that happened to me before. Like, back when I was a kid, I was playing Paper Mario. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Paper Mario was the first RPG I actually played. Technically. So I was playing that game, and I don't know if I had to go to the bathroom or if it was like my dad or my mom called me upstairs to look outside because it was a rainstorm. I don't remember. So I go upstairs, the power goes out, and then the power comes back on later. I turn on the N64. I had to go all the way to the beginning of the game, and I was like, maybe an hour in, and of course you're saying, Theo, that's like stupid. But I was like, what? I don't remember. Was it like 2000 it came out? It was 2000, 1990 or whatever. I was like 9 or 10 years old, whatever. It was just like, yeah, fuck this game. I'm not doing it. It was a rental from Blockbuster. I had to return it anyway, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Fuck this. Like, there's just games that you're just like, nah, I don't care. I'm not motivated. Fuck this. And I was telling people, like, if I didn't have time to save before the power outage, that might have been it, because that might have just been the demotivation to get me to stop playing. And that power was out for like a week or a week and a half. And I'm just like, dude, like, I would have to wait a week and a half to catch up. Like that, it was just nothing in that was like giving me like confidence. But I saved, the power went out, and it was like God was like, you're gonna take a little vacation after that, and kill the power. But whatever. So that happened, and whatever. So yeah, that's the only boss fight the full moon boss fight, I should say, that was actually really hard. Every other like full moon boss fight, it's like they might push you a little bit, but they're not gonna like really. It's nothing like, oh my god. I think the only story full moon boss that is hard is Nyx, just because it's Nyx. It's the final boss. The Guardians are really where the challenge comes from, because those just challenge your skill level at that point, because I mean, obviously they're Guardians for a reason. Like, you're going through these floors, they're just kind of test you before you can go to the next floor. And I do like the Guardian fights. Like, as much as I raged about the fucking bullshit one, and I had some cheesy fights too, they were kind of cool. I did like how challenging they were, and to Persona 4's credit, I'll give it credit in this video. I like the one boss fight I did. And this other fight I'm doing now, where you go back to where you fight the Yukiko fight, you do that. And that was actually pretty fun too. It's challenging and hard, but I do like that. I do like that they give you incentive to go back to that palace and all that. So I do like that. But the Guardians were really cool. I do like that they also put them into normal situations as well. So you kind of like either know their weakness or know what's good against them or know when to run. So I like Guardians in that regard. They do a good job keeping you on your feet. So I do like that. I think I talked about the mood system, how I like the mood system. It's like really cool to keep that in mind. I like the art style, the atmosphere. Okay, I love the atmosphere of Persona 3. It's clearly going for like this edgy, dark thing, obviously, but it was really cool. Like the whole game had this synergy that made you go back to the story. Like, Persona 5, like, Mementos was it had synergy with the story. Like, it did kind of, like, Persona 5 was clever in the way that they kind of put Mementos in the background. Like, you don't actively think about it, but it's something that you do care about. Then you realize by the end of the game that it has a bigger purpose. But this was a little bit better in the sense that everything in that game was feeding into into your curiosity. And as I said, like, I love that the shadows are unique designs. They're not like just throwing personas out there. In 3 in particular, because 4 kind of doesn't do this. 3 gives these shadows like a purpose. Like, they give them like a reason to exist, and they got to give them like this own sense of I don't know the word for it. Like, I don't know if it's agency or if it's like personality. I'll just say value or worth. Like, they have like a purpose. Like, it's like looking at animals in a kingdom. This is gonzo for me to describe it like this, but animals have a purpose. They all serve the greater whole. Like, they all keep each other in check, population wise, whatever. They all have a purpose. Like, you know why they're there, whatever. These shadows in Persona 3, they exist for a reason, and they come and they do stuff, and they're like animals in their own way, and you're just trying to understand why they're here, what's their point. And through the story you find out the point. But that is what makes it interesting, because they're not just like, oh, you're in this like magical world, and these things are just here. They're here, dude. Like, in like Persona 5, for example. Oh, the ruler has this cognition, and the cognition like creates security guards, and you have to fight the security guards because that's their cognition, and the cognition is like a persona, and this and that. And it's like, okay, like these things are just there to be there. While in Persona 3, it's like, yeah, these things are here, and we're trying to understand why they're here, and we want to know more about them. And I just love that, and it goes into the gameplay, it goes into everything. Like, everything in Persona 3 is like a cog in a machine that's moving, that gets you thinking. Like it got my mind racing, just in like thinking about the story, just visually. All this stuff was like just like pumping me up. Like, I was just like, oh my god, all this stuff, oh my god, look at this. Like, it is like porn. Persona 3 is like porn in the sense that it gives you all this stuff that made me like so happy. I'm just like, oh my god. It's like each block, it was like opening a gift, like a Christmas gift. Like, oh my god, what's gonna be this floor, and seeing what's gonna happen. So the atmosphere ties into that as well, with the enemy designs, all this stuff. Like, you want to know what is with, like, why is everyone doing this? All this kind of stuff. And so it all feeds into each other very well. Now, with that said, I am going to get into spoilers, because now we're going to the story segment. Now, of course, it's an old game, so maybe it's not a big deal if I spoil it, but I'm just going to warn you all the same, in case of any of those unfortunate souls who never played it. I'll not play the game, come back, you know the deal. But anyways, let's get into the story. I honestly think Persona 3 has the best story in the franchise. I've not gotten far in 4, so I'm not gonna really talk about that or compare to that just yet. But 3's story, I think, is really, really, really clever. The way that it incorporates death, mortality, failure, acceptance, all this stuff. Like, even in the final boss fight, they reincorporate all those themes, and they kind of tell you them right to your face. Like, every time when Nyx changes his arcana, he goes in, he talks about the arcana, like, that he's changing to. Like, oh yeah, the truth is this, the truth is that, whatever. I love that. It was so like honest, in terms of how we see life and ourselves and all this other stuff. It's a very personable story, I feel, because these go into questions that you might not be actively thinking, but these are things that you face, you'll eventually face. The thing I liked as well is that I mentioned earlier in this video that it has a lot of stuff I loved about Ava. Ava was a group of people who failed in many ways. Like, they're a team of failures. Like, they all have their own unique thing that they failed at, in their own way. But they keep moving forward with what they're doing, and all that kind of stuff. And Persona 3 does that. Maybe not in the same extent or reach, but your characters go through these epiphanies and these revelations that ultimately change. And it goes into this whole thing with, like, Persona 5, they made, like, the awakenings tied to confidants, which is, like, okay, it's alright, but I think Persona 3 was a little more poignant with having these reawakenings, these second awakenings, tied to the story, because it's like an underscore to what's going on with this character at this point in time. Because, like, you have a character like Mitsuru, who she is dedicated to atoning for the crimes that her company has done and her grandfather has done. She wants to atone for that, and she's also very cold and arrogant. She's kind of like, it's no secret or a coincidence that her persona is element is ice, because she's kind of like an ice queen, dude. But it complements that she's been cold to everyone around her, because she is dead set on, like, this is our goal and this is what we're gonna do, and I don't care what we do, but we're gonna do it. And that's why, like, it creates this rift where Yukari doesn't like her at first, because she's like, she's kind of not giving these people a choice. Like, she was kind of telling you when Fuka was joining, like, yeah, I think Mitsuru's like kind of forcing on her. I don't think she's giving her much of a choice. Like, she was like concerned that Fuka was being like tricked into joining C's, and it's like, yeah, because you don't, Mitsuru's not telling you the real reason why she's kind of doing this until you go further into the story. Uh, so, like, she does all that, and then, like, when Ikutsuki, by the way, I will say they did a great job. Like, the story of Persona 3 subverted every trope. Like, it just doesn't do the trope you think it's gonna do. The only trope it does that you could see coming is Ikutsuki. For me, the only thing I was spoiled with was it wasn't a true spoiler though. Like, the only reason why I thought Ikutsuki was bad was because I thought he was Takaya. Because my deduction was that, oh, Takaya has long hair and all this stuff. He's like all about the shadows, whatever. And Ikutsuki, oh, he has a ponytail. I bet he goes out at night. That's why you don't see him all the time in the dorm. He goes out and he has his hair like, down. He's like someone else completely. Maybe he knows how to like do whatever. Maybe he knows some persona tricks. But I come to find out that's not even true, and that's not the case. Like, Kai is his own person, but Ikutsuki does betray you. But at that time, once I realized that, yeah, he's not Takaya, I was like, okay. And I was like, maybe he is good. Like, the game gives you a good, like, back and forth of, is he or isn't he, with him, and it doesn't feel bullshit. Like, I did not like Akechi because I thought they kind of made it a little too obvious that he was going to betray you. They try to give him a redemption arc in Vanilla 5 that's kind of a little half-assed, to say the least. Like, it's kind of thrown in there a little bit, but it's not insulting either. But with Akutsuki, it kind of felt better. It felt like they hit it better. I don't know how they handle Adachi. I do know that Adachi is a bad guy because of the anime, shouts out, but I don't know. I feel like the game, to be honest, it handles it pretty good. It keeps it under its sleeve pretty well, for the most part. But I'll see once they get further in that game. But they did a good job with the Kutsuki, where I didn't see it coming, or at least I was like kind of having a little air of doubt with it. But anyways, like, Mitsuru like trusts him, and she's doing all this stuff, and then like once Ikutsuki betrays them and kills Mitsuru's dad. This part was kind of sad, like there was a lot of sad parts in the story, and this part was like really like sad for me to see, is that obviously Mitsuru loved her dad and she did all this stuff for him. You go on this trip, and she's so distant. She's like she's dead pretty much. Like, she's like, what's the point? Like, what were we really doing? I don't know. And it's just like, it doesn't, like, there's always a point in these kind of games, and this point kind of comes back again later on in the story, but there's like a point where the party gets in doubt and they kind of stop doing what they should be doing, and they, like in 5, it was like, oh, these people are hacking MedJet and all this stuff. Like, they didn't know what they were doing. And they were just like, "Do you go after Shido?" We don't know. So they don't. They're not in the mood for a while. And they do this with this, and it doesn't feel like it's a bullshit kind of like, yeah, move on. Like the one thing that annoyed me with five, I think Royal in particular does a little bit better, but like four was running into this cabin fever syndrome where I was already ahead of the main characters of understanding what the world they're in and all this kind of stuff. So it was just a little frustrating to be like, all right, you're in the TV world, okay. Okay, so do we get our personas? Oh well, then you hold your horses. We gotta walk around a bit. Oh, all right, we walked around a bit. Oh, there's shadows. How about now? I mean, the main character's literally summoned his persona right now. No, no, oh no! Hold your horses, dude. Calm down. We gotta go inside the building, talk a bit, run around, then we'll do a fight. Okay, now let's just do some bullshit. And it's like, and then it's like you go to like the main dungeon. And it's just like, can we go on? No, 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 dude. You gotta wait until they all agree and decide and do the dumb shit. And it's like, okay. 3 does a good job moving that along. A lot of the cases, like, it really subverts all that tropey bullshit in it. So you have Mitsuru, like, kind of be going through that dread, and she's just like, she doesn't know what to do, etc. And then, like, out of all the people to kind of come to her side is Yukari. And again, like, this is like, I almost said a celebration of failure, but like that's one character. Like she failed at protecting her dad and atoning for her grandfather's sins, but she also failed as a person because she failed to really be her own person. Like everyone around her was, not telling her directly because whatever, but her dad, like when you go to that island, he was just like, you still feel that way. Like I get it, but like that's my burden to bear. You should really kind of calm down with it, like because he knew it wasn't healthy for her to carry that. So she kind of like failed to being her own person and kind of like accepting things for what they are and kind of going with it in a way. So that's like one case. The main character, I mean, it's the main character, but you can say the main character failed. Like, I don't know. Like, it's I kind of put him on the side a bit, but you have Yukari as well that fails to. I think for her, I think it's just that she fails to empathize with people. Like, she didn't empathize with Mitsu or try to at one point. It's that, and then she misread her dad's intent as well. Not that it's her fault because Akutsuki tampered with the tape, but she also like. I mean, that's why I said like it's not necessarily the same as Ava because not everyone is a failure necessarily, but like they come over their flaws, their character flaws, and when they get over it, it is like they move on. Like they're like it's I've noticed this, and out of all the places to come to this realization, but I was watching DSP play Persona 3, and one detail that I didn't pick up when I first played it was when you're first going through Tartarus the very first time, and the main character like uses the evoker to get the persona out. He's grunting. He's like, ah, like whatever. Like it's this kind of like this semi hesitation. When you get further on in the story and in the game, he starts to like persona, Agi, whatever. Like he starts like saying the shit that he wants, and he's just shooting it like it's nothing. And the whole party does that too, where it's like grunting and minimal stuff. Then they start saying stuff, and it adds on top of that with their quotes. Like you have you have Mitsuru's victory quote where it's like she starts saying, "Oh, these shots are getting tougher." Then then you have Yukari, where it's like, yo, that was tough or whatever. Then when she gets her second awakening, she starts saying like, I'm not the same person I used to be. And it's like, yeah, you're not, because you got a new persona now. You reawakened, and all this kind of crazy stuff's going on. And I just love that. I said this before, like everything in this game ties to the synergy of the story. Everything ties into it, and it's this like cart that moves, and it gets your brain turning, because you want to know what's with Tartarus, what's with all this stuff going on, and everything ties into that. The characters go through all this turmoil. They fail. They need to learn how to accept their own failure and all this stuff. Like, I mentioned this with Makoto's character in Persona 5, where she kind of embodied everything that I loved about Persona 3, where Makoto's character kind of goes through this development where she starts very naive and like by the books, and she's like, I don't want to get into trouble. I don't want to piss off people. I should do stuff because they say it's easy. Whatever. She was like a sheep. But then, like, as Persona 5 and that story progresses, she starts to like form her identity. She starts saying like, I was an idiot back then. I didn't connect with anyone. I had no friends. I'm a loser. And now I'm like getting people, and she starts like learning from what as to like what she did was bad. Like, she's not shunning what she did. She owns it. She's like, yeah, that was me. I did that dumb shit, and now I'm doing something better. And that's exactly what Persona 3 is. Like, that whole story, all these characters do dumb shit and they own it. Like, Junpei does this other great development, and this is another thing that this game it was like, Theo, no, we're not doing this dumb shit. Like, he gets into the relationship with Chidori, and Chidori, by the way, I love that character. She has such a cool design. One of my favorite characters of that game. The second Junpei was like, oh, she's pretty cute, I was like, oh, we're gonna have like the stupid scene where either Junpei breaks her out of the hospital, whatever, she helps her get back with Takai or whatever the fuck. Or that he's like, I can't attack or whatever, it's some bullshit, right? The game never fucking did that. And I have to give props to this game. The movie kind of did that, which is a little bullshit, but it's not, it doesn't hamper the whole thing. It's not as bad as it could have been. But the game does it so much better, where because it makes Junpei sound like a fucking person with a brain, because like he's like, I love her, and I know we need information, and we can't let her go, and they do need to question her, but we should just kind of give her some space as well. And then when she turns on them, he's not like, okay, now I gotta fight my team. It's like, I don't remember necessarily if I had him on my team or not, but I have a feeling that he would just he would go about it as like, I'll attack her to stop her, but I'm not going to deliver a lethal blow, So like it works with the gameplay, and it works with all this other stuff, and it's like it gives him like this maturity, and through that relationship he became a better person over it. Like, he was very immature, he was a womanizer, he was like, oh man, he thought he was top shit. And then when he met Chidori, he really started to see himself in a different way, and through that he got better. And when she died, like, he was sad, but that even then he wasn't like, it would have been easy for Persona 3 to have like Junpei be like, oh, my girlfriend died. And it was the same thing with Mitsuru. Like, she dwelled on it, but it wasn't like, it was paced very well. Like, it was as long as it needed to be. So I really like loved all of that. Like, all of that going in. Like, Junpei having love and loss, and I guess was also another great character that was really, I'm surprised. Like, the movie does a better job with Aigis, to be completely honest. The movie develops Aigis with the main character pretty well because, I mean, it makes sense. And the game does that too, slightly. I mean, obviously, it being a video game and they want you to romance all the girls you can, it is what it is. But they do a good job all the same. But Aigis is such this cool character that's like, that she knows she's a robot, but she has this curiosity of what it is to be human. And it's not like this cringy cliche, like, humans eat food. I want to know what food is. Oh, movies? Man, dude, I don't know movies. Like, it's nothing like as dumb as that. And it's like because what fascinates Aigis into what a human is the complexities of it, not the surface level bullshit where it's like, oh, Yukari is dressing up to go out on a date. I don't get it. Like, what's humans? It's like they go against these odds and they keep doing it. Why? They like and it comes back by the end. Like, you have Ryoji, who is I call him Joker the whole playthrough, so I don't remember his real name. I think it was like Fargos or whatever. Joker, dude. Ryoji tells them that he's gonna become Nyx, and Nyx is coming. Nyx will destroy everything, whatever. He tells them that, and when you make the decision, before everyone is afraid and they don't know what to do, etc. But when you make the decision and everyone's like, yeah, fuck Nyx, we're gonna go against it. I guess is like, I don't wait. We could have a now, this is the one criticism I will have of the movie. I think the movie kind of does it in an okay way, but it's in a way I wouldn't have done it, because it's more of like, she doesn't want to see people get hurt, and that's why she doesn't want the thing to happen. While I think in the game it was more just like, the odds are not in our favor. This thing is going to destroy everything. Why should we bother? Like, she doesn't understand, like, why these people, like, I mean, she might have mentioned, like, she doesn't, well, no, it was that she doesn't understand, like, why would you rather, choose the long and hopeless path than to take the easy way out, like, and that's, and I mean, in any other circumstance you could say that being like a cheesy thing to say, I mean, whatever, but it is like, but it's that complexity of that, yeah, they're scared, and yeah, they know they could fail, but at the same time, like, and I was saying this in my head too, like, if you're going against this oppressive odds, and you're gonna die either way, if the outcome is both ways that you're dead, it's better to go out fighting, because by dumb luck you might win. Who knows? So I do like that, like, as Aigis is pondering this, like, she doesn't get it, and it's reasonable for her to think that. It's not like, they give you a sliver of, like, doubt, like, to a point. In Persona 5, that ending, they kind of give you this, like, little window of, like, yeah, you're going against Scott, but you could win. It's like they give you that little seed in your head that's like, you could win. They do a good job before the final boss fight, that they kind of give you that cool moment of, like, you coming to terms with it, which is cool. Like, they do a good job. It's a different direction. It's a different direction to say it, so it's not really fair to compare these two. But this is, like, a little bit more, like, there's no, like, sure, as a game, you're like, yeah, of course there's a way to beat it. It's a game. But story-wise, it's like, yeah, the game is telling you straight up, like, your guys gonna be fucked. Like, you don't want to take the easy way out. So I really loved that it was an actual issue that they had to ponder as well, and it just goes into Aigis' character. Like, Aigis' character goes so well with the story that it's incredible. Even her S-Link, I was doing some of her S-Links, and I unfortunately could not max it because I didn't have enough time. When I was doing it, it was like, this is a really cool S-Link, and I kind of forgot to mention this earlier, but I'll mention it now. I think the S links in Persona 3 are the best ones. 5 is good in the sense of the way they tell a story, because I think 5 gives you a little bit more of a narrative piece. Like, they give you a good chunk of story when you do them, so they kind of feel like that they're worth something. 3, they give you these little breadcrumbs of story that all amount to one big cookie, and that, which is a good thing. I mean, it's not. I mean, I kind of would have liked a little bit more, but it was good for what it is. But for Aigis, her S link was so good. Like, at least from what I don't know how it ends, but we go off with like, oh, this couple lost a cat, and she's like, oh, I will find this cat, and then like later on you run into these people again, like, yeah, the cat died, and I was like, then what was the point? Like, and the old lady was like, oh, fuck you. She was like, well, that's life. I mean, this cat, like, I'm just glad that this cat ran out, had a time of his life, lived it, and you guys brought him back. He saw me, we had a good time, and the cat died. Like, that's how I would have liked it, whatever. Uh, and I guess was just like, what? Wait, you're happy? Like she was trying to comprehend like that whole notion of like, it's the time now that matters, and death happens. It's acceptable. Like, you have to accept that, and it goes into that. The other S link that goes into this beautifully, I think his name was like Ganari, the Sun Arcana. That one, I was genuinely crying. Like, when we were at the end of the game and I was catching up with all the S links. That one genuinely like broke me. It was just so heartbreaking. Like, oh my god, like you're talking to the mom, and the mom's like, oh, you never really talked to me. He wrote this story. I want to know more about the story, but he was telling you about all the time, and I was just like, oh my god, like, what? And it's like, yeah, and like I was thinking that I was gonna do some bullshit like, oh, he was in the hospital, whatever. But he's like, yeah, he died, and he died peacefully. I was like, oh my god, I was like, god damn it, man. I'm getting sad just thinking about that, because it was such a like a, but it was this. It goes with the theme of accepting death and what's coming, and moving on from that. Like, the story is just so good, and everything in that story is designed intentionally to evoke those themes. And this is stuff that I'm a sucker for. I'm a sucker for this kind of shit. Like, it doesn't subvert expectations, and that's it. Like, God of War, the new one. Like, the trailer's like, oh, we're gonna do something different with Kratos. Now he's a dad. He wants to break out from being violent and all this kind of stuff. And for the most part, it handles it pretty well. And it's like, oh, it's pretty cool. But that's it. It doesn't add any other layers to it. It doesn't go anywhere else with it. It's like, you get it. This, like, it does these subversions, but it doesn't say, like, yeah, that's it, man. It adds to these things and layers to it. Like, and that's why it was giving me Ava vibes, because it was really making me think of stuff. Like, he had all these characters. Like, you had, like, Shinji. Shinji in Persona 3, that was this cold, dark person that was hiding something. You knew something was up. And when you find out that he kind of caused the death of Ken's mom, it was like, what the fuck? And this goes into this other thing that I like way more in Persona 3 than any of the Persona games. I love how they handle personas the most, because Persona 4 and Persona 5 are like, oh yeah, man, if you go in this world, you can see your persona. And I mean, Persona 4 does it a good way. Like, I do like the idea that you fight the other self and you face it. I do like that. 5 kind of does away with that, and it's a little bit different. I do like that each of these games are different. I don't want to rag on them for being different. I do like it, but I still think 3 does it the best. Because this one, it's not just, oh, you get personas and everyone's hunky-dory with it, but these, some of these are just kind of given. They're just of a given kind of like, oh yeah, okay, here's a persona for you, and you're adept at it. But then you have like characters like Shinji, Chidori, even Takaya. I don't know if Jin had an issue with his, but they were those personas did not work with them, and I think with the movie they did a good job with with the way they developed it. In the game, it was like Jin, Takaya, and Shidori, and maybe Shinji as well. I don't think they really reference him. I don't know, whatever. But they said that these people were forced to have a persona. They were not chosen. They did not get one naturally. They were forced to have these personas. So these things have these defects that wouldn't work because in a way they're bound to these people that they don't want to be bound to. So like that's why when you had Chidori in the hospital, her persona was trying to kill her because she couldn't control it. Shinji's persona was so powerful that he can't control it because it wasn't his persona. It was kind of forced on him. So I like that. I like the idea that these personas had their own. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily agency is the word, but their own mind almost. That it's kind of the trope with anime where it's like you have to be one with this thing, and if whatever. But I like the context of this way more. The movie of Persona 3, I like the idea of it more. I think the movie did it way better, and I loved it way more for this. There's a scene in the movie where I love this part. This part also ties into the Elizabeth dating missions you do in the game. They do this great thing by incorporating that in the main story, and it blew my mind that they did it because these scenes in the game, these dates with Elizabeth are good. I mean, they're good story development, but they never really tie in the main story. But I mean, these are just like cute little things. So when I saw this happening first when they started the date with Elizabeth in the movie, I was like, they're doing it this late? Like I thought it was gonna be filler shit, and I'm just like, dude, everyone is depressed right now. Next is coming, and we're gonna do fucking Elizabeth dates right now when goofy shit happened. I was surprised he had the balls to do that tonally. Like tonally, it wouldn't work. They made it fucking work. So everyone's depressed. Everyone's whatever. So you have Yukari who stopped eating. She's completely destroyed. She's like, I can't go on. I don't know what I believed in. What was my dad doing? Like she didn't want to do anything. So Mitsuru comes in because she's concerned. She's like, Fuka made this movie of your dad that's undoctored. You should take a look at it, but I'll leave it on the table, and just leaves and all that. And it gets to the point where her persona tries to kill her. Like it tries to kill Yukari, and she goes to the hospital, and they talk about it's like, what happened? And it's like, her persona went berserk and tried to kill her. And they talked about it's like, yeah, because the personas are going after, like they're driven by going after death, pretty much. Like these personas are against this. And if the persona user starts accepting death, it turns on the user because these personas are fighting these shadows that are because of Nyx and because of death and all this other stuff. So it's natural that personas would fight against that. So what would a persona do if the user starts accepting the idea of death, like going with it and like, yeah, bring it on, let's die, and it's like, it's gonna turn against it. So I do like that the movie goes into that, and it makes it a little bit more like, holy shit. And everyone is depressed. Like Ken is depressed. Everyone is. The Elizabeth dates serve as a way to get even the main character out of this rut. The main character is also depressed because he also doesn't know if he could be next, whatever. He starts understanding the value of what he's fighting for and all this stuff. And through that, through all the stuff he did with Elizabeth, going to the park, dancing, all this dumb shit, like all these dumb things that people take for granted, like was like, oh yeah, people do dumb shit, and that's like worth fighting for. Holy shit! Like it reinforced that, and then through that, everyone else starts to realize that as well by this symbolic sunshine. Of course, it's a little corny and cliche, but it kind of works with the message. And it's just like, I mean, I said this in the Persona 5 Royal video and about Gurren Lagann. I am a sucker for stories where the characters break up or they're stuck in a funk. I mean, same with the Kiki's Delivery Service. Something comes in and brings them back down, brings them out of that, and it's like, no, fuck that, you're going here, and so the movie did that, and I was a sucker for it. So I loved that part of that movie. That was like that when I watched that part. That was kind of when I decided that part of that movie, the last movie of Persona 3, is the best movie in that whole arc. They're all good movies. I like them all. I think like 3 was kind of okay, but the fourth one was like the best one. I also loved the how it gets to the end. That whole segment is so fucking good. You go into Tartarus, you have this cool ass beat playing. The movie soundtrack is also amazing. I can't even, like, oh man, I love the music in the movies too. But you have this cool ass music playing. And actually, during that part is when their personas evolve, which is a little different from the game. You could debate which one's better, I guess, at this point. This one served as more of like a cool little segment, I guess, in the movie. As they're going up each layer, each one is facing a floor of shadows. One's facing off with Takaya and Jin, whatever. And as this is going on, the main character is fighting next. And it's so cool how that plays out. And during this, you really feel the development of the characters, like in the movie. As the main characters like talking about understanding whatever, this arcana that's about understanding each other. It pans down to Yukari and Mitsuru, and they're both like kind of giving them a good like, you got this, yeah, like mutual trust. And it's like, damn, that goes well with this. Like, it tied what they were doing with what he was doing. It was really cool how it was like this symbolic thing. So that was really cool. But I do think the game does this a lot better, where you get to the end, you're facing off next all together. And this fight was really one of my favorite boss fights. I kind of was playing this. I beat it on the first try. Not to brag, but beat it on the first try. Big ups to me. I will say the only thing that was really rough was the Moonlight Sword, whatever that Nyx does. That's like an insta parry. The only thing that was like fucking me was Junpei would always die because I would never be able to tell him to stop in time. The other thing was, I only equipped the Narcissus Flower on Yukari. I had this one amulet on for my character that would prevent me from getting any ailment. So he would do that infamous move. And it's kind of funny to me. I laughed at this. Aigis got charmed. The same way DSP's Aigis got charmed too. It was pretty funny to me. And I'm like, oh shit, but I was like, dude, I have Discharm. I could free her immediately because it's my turn. I'm right before Aigis. So whatever I do, she'll never have a turn to heal Nyx at all. So it worked perfectly the way that the turn cycle went. It was like brilliant. So that just happened. So that fight was a really cool fight. I love that fight. And then you get to the part where it's complete despair. You did beat him, but it's the fake one. It's like yeah, the real one's still coming. You know, if only more people were like you or whatever. You know, which is more shit I loved. I love that's like, yeah, you know, you have that, you have what it takes, whatever. So that's going on. Nyx is coming, and everyone is just like, you know, what the fuck are we gonna do? You get teleported to the Velvet Room, and Igor tells you directly, you made bonds that seem insignificant, but they're actually like they're gonna help you big time. It allows you to witness the new wild card, you know, whatever. Like he tells you straight up, like, you know, the deal and all that, and that's really cool. Like I was always wondering, like Persona 5, it was very clear what Igor's role was. You know, aside from the turn that he does, which is obvious too for hardcore fans, but uh, you know, that is pretty clear what his goal in that one was. Well, with 3, I was actually genuinely you know, curious as to what he's got, what his role would be, and 4 is same you know, same thing. And then it's like, yeah, you know, you're gonna like do shit. You're gonna do cool shit. So it's like, okay, cool, rad, rock on. So you're doing this. You're on like no HP pretty much, and the boss just annihilates you. But it's a scripted. It is actually like a very well scripted fight. I literally thought this was a genuine boss fight the way that it looked, and some of you might roll your eyes at this too, but it made me think of Indivisible. Indivisible had the same setup with the boss in a way where it's not a typical fight where you're just okay, just hit square, do the thing to win. It's like, okay, no, here you're gonna do like perfect parries, perfect blocks. You can't attack them. Okay, you just have to like wear them down pretty much. With Persona 3, excuse me, with Persona 3, uh, you're doing this, and as this is going on, you hear your teammates saying, "Oh, we can't let him die. We gotta believe in him, even if it means sacrificing everything." All this stuff, like all this encouragement and all this stuff. I was just like, "Oh my god, this is like fucking insane!" Like I was like losing it a little bit when that stuff is going on because it's a everything Persona 3 fucking did, I'm a sucker for. Like, it did everything to, like, just be like, yeah, Theo, you're gonna love this shit. Here's some porn. Like, the other thing about it that I just fell in love with was the... oh my god. I'm blanking on this. Was that... it wasn't the dumb kids it wasn't these kids running to the magical world and learning and following a magical mascot to learn the way. It was like, no, these kids joined a secret organization that knew what the fuck was going on, and it's like a shadow government kind of not shadow government, but it was like a secret organization and all this stuff. I like that a lot more, that it was like this hybrid of scientific research mixed in with this supernatural nonsense, which I loved. I loved that it had this kind of scientific bullshit to it. So that was the thing I was a sucker for, and just having the characters kind of go through, telling you, keep going, come on. The one I love the most though, and a lot of people are gonna be like, of course you love this one, Theo. You're a fucking Mitsuru simp. If this makes me a simp, oh, well. Let me tell you, I'll simp. Baby, I'll simp. But anyways, Mitsuru's one is my favorite one's like, I'll give you everything I want to give you, whatever. I can't remember it now, damn it. I had it and then I lost it. It was like, brilliant. It was like, I'll give you everything, even if it means my own life. I was just like, damn, we're really going into this. And then I think they even even Shinji says something. It's just like, oh my god. Like, everything about it was so cool, and it went, like, full circle and everything. It tied... It was beautiful. It was, like, the best story I've experienced between 3 and 5. Like... And I hate to say it, like, I don't know how 4 is gonna top this, or even, like, meet it, because, like, 3 did everything I loved. It had It had Shinji, who was this dark character that killed Ken's mom. Ken had this harboring revenge on him, and even, dude, even when like he had, like he could take the revenge, and Shinji was like, yeah, before you kill me, I mean, I'm okay if you want to kill me. You could kill me if you want, but I just want you to know you're gonna live with this decision all your life. It's very easy for me to accept this because I accept that I did something fucked up, but I just want you to know that if you kill me, you're gonna live with this decision, and you're gonna have to be okay with that. And Ken's like, yeah, I'll be okay with that. Like he did, like he didn't know the gravity or the weight he was gonna accept. So when Shinji died, even though it was technically a robbed thing, like Takaya kills Shinji. Like he stole his revenge from him. Because Takaya was gonna kill Ken, and Shinji stepped in the way, and that fucked with Ken. He was like, "What the fuck?" And then like after that, he was just like, because like, even then like Shinji realized that Ken was gonna kill himself after he was gonna do that, whatever. And Shinji also was telling him like, "Dude, like don't do that. Don't kill yourself for this. Like." you know, you know, live with what you're doing, And that's the other thing that this game does brilliantly, that you have to face what you've done. You did something, you have to go back and face it. You can't just run. You can't take the easy way out. Like, that at that point in the story, that was like the baby version of what the game kind of tells you at the end. And it goes through Aigis too, because Aigis was the reason why this whole thing kind of started, because Aigis sealed the Appraiser of Death, Ryoji, into the main character. And she forgot that memory. That memory was like wiped, and then it came back to her. And when she came to terms with that, she was like she wanted to kill Ryoji because he should have died. He should have been killed. Him being sealed away and all this stuff was a mistake, and she didn't want that mistake to happen again because she wanted the easy way out. And it was like, and she had to learn as much as to comprehend. Like, she had to go through so much, by the way. It's insane, because not only did she have to accept the human spirit of going against all odds to do things, to do dumb shit, even though it's dumb. She also had to accept that she did this. She made this thing happen, be it inadvertently, and all these characters had to face their demons and their failures and their mistakes, and they had to own it and accept it. Like, Persona 4 does this, but it doesn't, like, just judging off of the Yukiko fight, I'm just gonna judge off that. I mean, it would be unfair to base the whole game. Maybe the game's gonna turn me around on this, but like, even with the Yukiko and Yosuke, it's like it comes off surface level. Like, I don't, and I want to say this too. I don't want to be super negative on Persona 4. I don't want to go into Persona 4 being like, this game fucking stupid. So I mean, and I've made notes of that too. I'm like, I do want to play this for what it is, and I will say, to balance it out, I do like Persona 4. I do like a lot of stuff that it did. So I'm more curious to see. I do want to play more of it. I am getting that groove back with it. Every Persona game, you have to get a groove going to really get it. Persona 5 is a very easy game to get a groove in. 3, it took me a while to get a groove into that game, and once I found that groove, dude, that is when that game started getting on a one-way road to my heart. So 4, it might take a while for it to find the right exit into my heart. So we'll see what happens in Persona 4. But like, 5 is so unapologetic with giving its characters, like, you were a fucking idiot and you failed hard. Look at how bad you fucked up, and they're like, damn, and they grow from that. And it is such an important game, and it makes it timeless. Like, that's why I said about Ava. Ava, I don't think will ever be I don't think it will ever be dated, because I think it's such a what it gives you, the viewer, it gives you a lot to digest and to unpack. Uh, Persona 3 gives you so much. It gives you so much just to think about. And I'm just astounded that no other Persona game. I mean, but okay, I'll just look at Persona 5, okay, because I beat that game. Like Persona 5 just doesn't hit these same notes. Like I mean, I loved Royal. Royal I liked a lot more. I liked Royal more than the base game in some ways, but like it really feels like the Persona 3 staff made this game and was like, we did God's work. We are done. We can't top this. We're done. And they left. Because, like, Persona 4 and 5 feel so starkingly different. Like, it feels like that they ignored what 3 did. Because 3, it just feels so different. And, a lot of people were saying, like, this is like, it's not 100% SMT, but it has a lot of SMT vibes that people were getting from this. And SMT is a much harder game. I heard it does a lot of bullshit to the gamer, but if the story is like this, it hits these notes. I'm gonna probably love SMT. Like that. Like now I'm thinking about this. I'm getting excited for the remaster to come out and the fifth game. I mean, I was gonna play those two anyway because I do want to experience what came before Persona to see what Persona stemmed from. And to see how silly the challenge is, because I to a point I love some of the memes of SMT3. I know there's a meme with the Matador and Jack Frost. Jack Frost is a cool persona, obviously. Everyone loves Jack Frost. I would like to see one person say they hate him. I doubt I'll find one, but I wonder. But back to Persona 3, like that story is just so well made. Like I loved it. Like again, I can gush about it because this game did everything that I was like, I'm gonna hate this for this and this and this, and everything I listed that I hate, it was like, no, nope. Oh, you think Junpei's gonna be an idiot with Chidori? No. Oh, wow. The game is gonna be stupidly hard, and I'm gonna rage quit it. No. Well, maybe the answer, but that's the answer. Everyone hates the answer apparently. Uh, oh, there was something else that was like generic too. That was thing I was gonna do and didn't do, but everything about it was like everything I love in that kind of media, and it speaks to me just as the kind of story I love. I love like David Lynch. I love Kubrick. I love movies that just let you think. They don't tell you directly what it's about. And Persona 3, like as deep and thoughtful it is, it tells you a lot of stuff of what to think, but it presents it in such a good way. Like it doesn't talk to you like you're a baby. It's like, no, you're a man. You're a big boy. You get this. Like you're not a baby. The other thing I will say that I will gush about this probably until the day I die. I don't think we'll ever see this either. The animation in this game is so like gonzo. I really can't believe that what went through their minds to animate some of these cutscenes. So, for example, one cutscene, I think it was like when they're giving you the background on Tartarus and how Mitsuru's grandfather did this experiment, etc. They did this cool little thing where it's like a white backdrop. You see this outline that feeds into this image and another image. It was so like so cool. It was so stylistic and gorgeous. And I'm just like, they don't animate cutscenes like this. I don't know if Persona 4 does this. I don't know. I'll have to beat the game. But 5 never did this. It never did this cool thing visually with the animated cutscenes. And I was just like, dude, these cutscenes are fucking insane. And I loved them. And it makes me mad that uh, that they never did cutscenes like that again. And for the time, dude, this game was like what, 2006? Because I think Persona 4 was 2008 or 10. I don't fucking remember, but uh, the way the cutscenes were animated blew my mind. It felt like that they came from the future to do these. Like, it was so like groundbreaking and new and refreshing. Like, there are movies that do this. There are like stuff that does that experimental shit very well. But for a game, let alone like a Persona game, to do this in like 2006, like, this is stuff I would see in like 2010, whatever. And it's like, man, and no one did anything. No one tried to do this. Like, I would love if like Persona 6, like they play Persona 3, they see the cool shit, and they're like, we should do some of this cool shit. This is cool tricks. Like, the way I can't even imagine how they boarded it. Like, there are thumbnails I've been like, the last thumbnail I did for Persona 5 was hurting my mind a little bit, because they saying what layers on what what will you see, what was gonna happen. And there's stuff that just compounds on my mind. I'm just like, I don't know how to like figure this out. And it's like they did it in this game. And it's like, why don't they do more of this? So like, honestly, Persona 3 does a lot of stuff that is just groundbreaking. So I think I talked enough about the story and how much I loved it. I think I can kind of wrap up this video and just say my closing thoughts. As it is, I do like Persona 3 way more than 5. I was thinking that I was gonna like 5 more because, with Zelda, I like Zelda games. I love Breath of the Wild. I love all these games, but none of them will top Wind Waker for me. I loved Wind Waker. That was like my favorite Zelda game. Maybe I'll do a video on that at some point, but I loved Wind Waker, and no other Zelda game has ever even topped it. So with Persona 3, like, I was thinking, okay, Persona 5 is just gonna be my first favorite because, like, it's my first game, the first Persona game that got me into the franchise and the genre for that matter. I mean, it still holds a special place in my heart, but 3 I like way more. I like the goofy, like, also look at it like this. Persona 4, like, how many Persona games are gonna have this gonzo party? Like, you have a dog, a robot, and a child join your party. And no other Persona after that ever done anything like it. It's like, alright, Persona 4, you get people in your school. And a stupid ass teddy bear. Okay. Oh, Persona 5, you get high school kids and a middle schooler and a cat. Okay. 3, oh, you get a fucking robot, dude, that does cool shit. Oh, you get a dog too. And a kid. And it's like, you'll never see Persona do this. I don't think. I hope Persona 6 does this, because I think it's weak to argue that, well, Theo, Persona 3, since the party is controlled by AI, it makes sense to have a dog. But I'm just like, the dog does stuff that's in the menus. Like, who fucking cares? Like, it's Persona. The dog summons a Persona. Like, I don't care if oh, the dog is going through a menu and decided, well, the dog has a brain, doesn't it? Like, so I think it's a little weak sauce to say, well, Theo, I mean, they're all like AI controlled, so it makes sense to have a robot and a dog, because it's like, come on. So I think it's a little weak to hide behind that, if that is a defense for it. Because honestly, I think we should have more unique and interesting party setups. Because, man, like, that dog was so cool. I was so close of like keeping that dog as a permanent party member, but it just didn't work out in my playthrough. He was he was a good enough level, but he kept missing and he kept dying. So it's like, And a lot of his skills were not useful because he had a lot of insta kills he kept doing. So it's like, yeah, gonna bench you up a little bit, buddy. Same thing with Ken, but Ken is way worse. Ken sucks ass. Like, Ken is the worst party member I've had in that game. Like people were telling me and yelling at me, "Oh, you're gonna hate Mitsuru. She's gonna spam Mary Karen." She only spammed Mary Karen like one time in my entire playthrough when I had her in my party. Like, she did it, but it was never enough where it was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna do Mary Karen." But uh, she did do some dumb shit in the answer. I'll talk about that in the answer video, I guess. But uh, Ken was such a piece of shit. Kept missing, did no damage, died, did insta-kill moves. And I was like, okay, Ken, you're just gonna be benched forever. Fuck Ken. Fuck Ken. He's a dumbass grappler, dude. So there's that. I like Junpei. I hate him for a while because he kept stumbling and tripping all over himself, but he became a better party member as time went on. I actually liked him a lot, as well. Him and Igus were like my heavy hitters. Akihiko, I honestly don't know what happened to him. I liked him a lot. He was a good hitter, but like, I feel like at some point when I was playing it, he became like a baby. It was like he was regressing to be a baby party member. Like, he kept getting knocked down all the time. His attacks were doing like nothing. And I was like, I don't know why I keep him around. And then it's like, yeah, I'll just have Igus here instead of him. But Yukari was permanent. Like, I would not go into Tartarus without Yukari. She was like the best party member in the entire game. She was like God made her. God made Yukari for me, I guess. I don't know. Yukari was perfect. I feel like that's all I have to say about that. I feel I'm gonna end this video and be like, oh, I should have said this, but whatever. I loved Persona 3. It was a solid game. It had a lot of flaws in it, like with the item store being what it is, and all that. I loved the charm of it, and I'll tease the Persona 3 the answer video a little bit and saying that so far, I see why people hate it gameplay wise. It's very, very, very rough and cruel. It's almost like they designed it just to fuck with the fan. Like, it was like the fans wanted answers for Persona 3. Like, they wanted these plot holes solved, and Alice was like, think about it on your own. And people were demanding it, so they're like, you know what? If these fuckers want answers, they'll get answers, but it's gonna be a hard mode, no compendium, good luck. And that's what it feels like. Once you get to a floor that's like right before a guardian, you have to leave the floor, can't go back to that floor, so you have to go through all those floors again. And you can save there, sure, but what HP you have, what SP you have, that's what you enter with. Items you don't get until like later, which is wow. But I do semi like the charm of reusing assets. I don't know what it is with it, like, because it's something that people would complain now. Now, it wouldn't be excusable. It would be lazy and shitty. But the way that Persona 3 does it, where it's just like, yeah, we're reusing shit. You're gonna like it, and it's gonna be its own thing. I mean, there's new stuff they did for it too, like the labyrinth you go through is not Tartarus repainted either. I mean, it's the same kind of setup, but it's like different floors and all that kind of stuff. I do like how the answer is set up. I do like the floor design, how it's creepy. It looks like it kind of reminds me of the hotel you go through in the journey. And then a lot of people dogged on Metis. I don't know why, and I really hope no one spoils it because I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her story. So far, I just know that she claims to be Igus' sister, and I'm very curious to see where it goes from there. I just like her design. I think her design is really cool. It's like that edgy Shadow the Hedgehog look that's going on. It's pretty cool. She's like Shadow to Igus' Sonic. I just like I just like Metis a little bit. She has cool voice lines a little bit. It's kind of cute how she responds to people. I don't know. The other thing I think I do remember hearing a lot of people just not like the party dialogue, like with Aegis. Well, not Aegis. Whoops, Yukari. Yukari in particular, I've been hearing, and some of Fuka that people didn't like. With Yukari, I kind of get it because she seems way too cold. Like, I wasn't expecting to be like the waifu of the team or anything, but like in the answer, like I guess got beat up pretty bad or something. Everyone was concerned, and Yukari just shows up like, oh, she's okay. Wow, I wasted my time here. Wow, this was dumb. And it's just like, she's your friend, and you kind of talk to her like she's a waste of time. Like, the only thing I kind of forgave was she had this phone call with Fuka, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm doing cram school." I'm just sitting there like, yeah, she must be really busy. So I mean, to that point, I guess that she's just busy and she just wants to get this over with so she can go back to doing what she was doing. So I get that. So I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily fault Yukari all the way until there's something that's like worth calling out once they get to certain plot points. Because I also feel like maybe there's a plot point that is just gonna, that once I see it, I'll know it. Because again, I made a tweet saying, "Oh man, Metis is pretty cool," and someone was like, posted an angry face at me. I'm just like, wait, what? Why? And then I remember some people like saying, "Yeah, fucking Metis, Metis." And I'm just like, what's wrong with her? She just showed up. She wants to protect Aegis. Like, what's the deal with this? So I don't know what the deal is. I'll find out soon, someday maybe. But that's it for this video. Thank you for watching this Big Bun Game Club. I hope you liked it. This was a long one because I really, really, really loved Persona 3. So I think that'll be it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.